and welcome. My name is Ray, and I thought it would be a cool idea to make an intermediate video for Rise to Ruins. I play enough of it. I have yet to conquer it. I am not the Ray that is the developer of this game. That's a different Ray. So what I'd like to do is, this is the first area on the map that I've done. It's normal. I have it paused right now. I'm actually on day 28, and I really only want to be in this till day 29, and then I've already moved people over to the other city, but I thought I'd give a show of what my fortress looks like, kind of my layout, things that I've done, and stuff. So I'm gonna unpause, and ooh, a bunch of dogs are getting barbecued. So as you can see, I've made the corruption very angry. This is the generalized shape of the corruption. I've kind of boxed it in with towers, these light towers. I have a lot of them paused because if they get damaged somehow, like a lightning strike, and your workers will go and try to fix them. If you pause them, they'll just basically kind of ignore them, which is kind of cool. I'm using the newest update, which has some cool new stuff, including these god towers, which I've kind of positioned here at the entrance to my little maze that I've got going. What else? The only downside is they use the majority of your magic, so that's why I only have 3 of them there. I've got, I think I have one more upgrade on my castle. This is kind of my base layout. I'm going to start a new territory that I've already put people in, so that'll be kind of cool. These are my migration way stations. Look at that, I made it to spring. Yay! And nobody, well, a few people died, but you know, that's par for the course. So now that that's over, and I've already sent the people, I'm going to turn the speed down to 1 by, kind of talk a little bit more about my setup. I like to make sure there is these buffers for these items here along the tower, the castle. I've got my lightning rod in the center. I like wells. They work all year round, especially when the water is completely frozen solid. And these are my essence collectors, and if you put your essence collectors next to these burners, the burners will burn the garbage and create essence and basically power them. It works pretty good. I've got about 20,000 magic, which is probably double what I need, but I like to be prepared. I don't do a lot of fancy houses. I just use the basic reinforced high capacity houses. I have 3 of those right now. I can still fit 120 people, and then I've got my lodge, and that has a bunch of people in it. I'm using the new walls, which I like. The fact that specters can't go past them, that's an awesome thing. And then I've kind of made this maze. This is my specter trap. So basically all the other mobs will go around here, but the specters will come into here because of the regular brick here, and then they get put into these reinforced static towers and just kind of kills those. They haven't been too effective because there hasn't really been a mass amount of oh, is there an earthquake? That's not bueno. There hasn't been massive amounts of mobs for the most part, but the idea behind this is, and I borrowed this from someone else's setup that I watched on a video, and I can't remember his name, but he was doing like Nightmare and all this stuff. I'm gonna make it a point of figuring out what his name is and give him props for his stuff that I learned from him. Oh, look at that! Everything's on fire! Yay! So, I also have a lot of these recombobulator towers. As many as I can fit in the space that are kind of by the maze. This, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it doesn't seem like the mobs attack them. They definitely attack the towers if they can get to them, but I carefully built these towers so they were 9 spaces away from my fence. And that's another thing that's really important. They have limited range. The bow towers have the most, but what that does is it makes it so the fire elementals can't wipe out all your crap because it's too close to your fence when you're going in there. So, what is this guy doing? He's just grabbing some logs. Alright. So, I am gonna save this. And, yeah. Oh, look at all those people. It's a good time to save. That weird noise is my bird. Don't be alarmed. He's supposed to make those noises. So, I started playing this earlier, and I got to about here, and then I'm like, well, let's try something new. And it did not work. And my entire village got razed to the ground on the 24th day. So it means that I could not make it to the survive 1 year, which is basically the win. So frustrating, frustrating, frustrating. So I like to start here on the Enchanted Shoreline. I've tried starting in the middle, but what I've learned is if you start in the middle, you have only so many options for going out like this, and it makes it difficult. I found that seems to be a better plan is I start on the coast and I literally will just go all the way around, come all the way to here, and then curve it all around, right? And then go down there and then slowly into the center. At least that's my goal. I've gotten about half of the map done before I've been undone by something I've just tried. I guess if I was smart, I would try it on something that wasn't a whole campaign, but what are you going to do? So I've got my God experience, and I think most people are familiar with this. Kind of little improvements and stuff that you can do. Alright, nice. That's totally useless. So we're going to look at Coastal Bridge. I sent 30 people there. I've seen people say, send 50, send 80, and I could, but I find that 30 is kind of like a really good number. And that's just my experience. There might be reasons to send more than that. I've also been sending supplies to this region since day 25. So there's 4 days of supplies, and what I have found is if you send in the components to build the crystal golems and other golems, you can crank those out pretty fast, and then you have some good early defense, so you don't have to struggle to build towers and other stuff. That becomes really important when it gets harder and harder. They'll start spawning more creatures and attacking you sooner than later. This is going to be a fairly easy map to do, mostly because I'm going to put this over here